New research report says that Tesla stock is undervalued. No changes to our $250 valuation as Tesla begins semi-truck deliveries, shares undervalued. This is from Morningstar Equity, and they estimate that the fair value estimate is $250. Looking back, one of the best times to buy Tesla stock was in 2019. And for that period of time, for a tiny bit of period of time, early 2019, which is when I bought Tesla stock, it was sort of neither undervalued or overvalued. And then, according to them, it was overvalued for a fair bit amount of time, although the stock did very well. But now, even they say it's undervalued. And we do want to pay attention to what Morningstar says, because the firm currently manages over $265 billion. Now, that is a significant amount of money. So let's see what Morningstar says here. On December 1st, Tesla hosted an event to showcase its semi-truck and began deliveries of the new vehicle, which went pretty well. Although, interestingly, Tesla has been so secretive about full self-driving. Like during the event, no mention of full self-driving, no mention of putting trucks in a convoy to beat rail in terms of how expensive it is. Like Elon Musk talked about this in the previous semi event, not the one that we just had. So interesting that that was not mentioned at all. I would think there are a few possible reasons how I could explain this. A Tesla bear would probably say, oh, it's because full self-driving, it's never happening. Forget about it. It was all a sham, is what bears would say. I don't think I would say that at all. I think maybe a more likely explanation possibly is Elon maybe is also quite busy. And also a lot of the maybe guidelines for full self-driving that he threw out earlier were not exactly met. So maybe, just maybe, he's thinking now that, oh, how about we just deliver it once it's ready, and instead of, promising a lot and then supposedly under delivering. Elon is surprising us with how much he is getting done at the moment. I mean, he just met with the French president. Monday, we had the whole situation of Apple, war and everything, and that's over now, so that's good. Tuesday, here are the engines popping. Wednesday was Neuralink, where monkeys were typing with their minds. Of course, they're not typing with their minds. They just see this yellow thing and then they pick that with their minds. Literally, they are not touching anything. It's all with their minds. Then Thursday, we had the 500-mile semi actually delivered. Friday, if you are into politics, you should get on Twitter and check some of those files that were published today. So Elon is proving to all of us that he can manage everything just no problem. We just had the FSD wide release as well, the beta release. The report then says here, the event highlighted the features of Tesla's semi-truck consistent with management's previous statements. Oh, so many people question, can it really do 500 miles? Can it really do that also when it goes uphill? Can it really do that? And we now know, yes, it can. The semi-truck has a published 500-mile range towing a full load, which is 82,000 pounds based on U.S. federal limits. We think the semi-truck will see strong demand over time as the cost savings from electricity versus diesel will more than offset the higher upfront cost to make a business case for the switch to electric trucks. 100%. Check this out here. After 1 million miles, estimated cost of electricity for the semi is under 200,000 US dollars, whereas for diesel, and mind you, this is in the US, outside of the US, diesel is much more expensive. And even then, it's about $800,000. This is just the fuel costs. This is not taking into account all of the maintenance costs that are going to be a lot less. Did you see the motor? You can actually carry the motor, and one of those motors has 3 times the power of one diesel engine. Mind blowing. It's as if Tesla built Plaid models with the intention to later use them for the semi. Was that the real reason, perhaps, why they built Plaid models? I can't wait for someone to actually get the semi and do a drag race with like a BMW 5 Series. And that semi would actually beat like a 5-year-old BMW in that drag race. Of course, with no payload. And by the way, I have seen people look at this and say this is really bearish, but because there's no compact $30,000 car in here, and people think, oh, we are never going to get it. It's just going to be a robotaxi. Well, tell me, where is the Roadster here? We know it's definitely coming. We don't know when, but we know it's definitely coming. So I wouldn't be so quick to come to conclusion that Tesla will not release the $30,000 car. And I think for the robotaxi, I mean, all they would need to do is just make sure there is a steering wheel, and they would still be able to sell those, even if it looks, like an actual robotaxi, meaning it's not going to look maybe exactly how you would want a regular car to look, and it will probably have acceleration that is going to beat a Volkswagen Golf from 1969 by maybe like 1 millisecond. And of course, if you wear gloves, man, too bad for you, because there's going to be no glove compartment probably. I mean, whoever uses a glove compartment in a robotaxi. Have you ever used a glove compartment when you took a ride in an Uber or a taxi? I never have. But as long as that car is able to have a steering wheel, if they haven't sold full self-driving yet and gotten a regulatory approval, many people will still buy, because it's just going to be so much more cheaper. So I personally think when it comes to product announcements, I think Tesla is doing what it needs to be doing. I wouldn't be too worried about any of that, really. I mean, if they really see that they will need that $30,000 car, I'm sure we are working on it, and they will have things ready exactly when they need them. While the range would work for both short and long-haul trucking, the lack of charging infrastructure for heavy trucks will likely limit the semi's initial market to short-haul purposes. Sure, that's no problem. I mean, the trucking industry is relatively big compared to how many trucks Tesla can produce at this moment, so there's no problem with that for now. Where the truck can return to the garage to charge. Longer term, Tesla plans to build heavy truck charging stations using its new V4 supercharging technology that can provide charging speeds up to 1 megawatt, which is mind-blowingly fast. That's a lot. That's a big difference between what we have right now. It's like 4 times faster than what we have right now. But this will likely take time to materialize, limiting the use case to short-haul routes over the next several years. This reminds me of early days of Tesla, where superchargers were not that abundant, so you would have to be like really careful how you plan your trips. But the thing is, with semi-trucks, you know where everyone is going exactly. I mean, people don't exactly take a detour to a grocery store when they are in a semi. They just go exactly where they need to go. They take the shortest routes, the most economical routes. So predicting these routes is quite a bit easier. So building out the infrastructure, it's a little bit simpler. During the event, management said V4 supercharging technology will also be used for Cybertruck, the consumer light truck expected to be released next year. Over time, V4 superchargers will likely allow faster charging times for all Tesla models, of course, except for cars that we already built. That's obvious. But all new cars, eventually, that will be built, I expect them to eventually to be able to take advantage of this much faster charging as battery technology also evolves, where faster charging does not really, completely obliterate your battery's life expectancy. Constant fast supercharging for batteries is probably like drinking 5 cups of coffee all at once. I mean, you can do it, but do you really want to do it is the question. Probably no. Probably you don't want to do that all the time. So the analyst here is estimating that this is in line with our view that average charge times for EVs will fall to 10 minutes. Now, he doesn't specify exactly like from how much to how much. He says that right now it's 15 minutes for Tesla autos using the V3 technology. I guess he's talking about charging to 50%, which this particular Model 3 can do that in about 15 minutes. For me, Baba Bay supercharging makes trips more interesting if I am going to these places for the first time. It's just, you're stopping at a new place, you're checking things out. It's like, oh, this area is interesting, this area is interesting. By the time you're done looking around, it's like, oh, the car has been charged. But I find it not to be a very pleasant experience I look forward to if I need to go to a place that I've already been. And if especially I'm going to the same place over and over and over again, and it's like I have nothing really to do there. And if I am in a rush, I'm pressed for time, I hate it. It takes way too long. But if I'm not in a rush and I'm just enjoying myself, I find that to be actually quite interesting. This should keep Tesla as having one of the fastest charge times of any EV globally, supporting continued vehicle deliveries growth. Charging speeds and the charging network clearly is one of the biggest advantages that Tesla has over anyone else. I mean, one of the big complaints with other EVs, these chargers are just out of order a lot of the time. I read a report that even in San Francisco, which is, the capital of electric vehicles and stuff like that, you would think like every charger would be, running. And for third-party chargers, I read a report that something like 1/4 of all the chargers were not working. We sampled like over 100 of them, so maybe they just had a very bad luck or something, but I don't think so. But with a Tesla supercharger, I am yet to find a single one that was not working, for me, that is. Of course, there are chargers that are out of order, but when I go out there and when I need to charge, I am yet to find a single one that is not working. So good news here from Morningstar saying Tesla stock is undervalued. That's just one of the 48 reasons why I only own Tesla stock in my stock portfolio. My name is Matt Post. Just like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And I'll see you here. Thank you for watching.